17 August 2022, Saquarema City, Rio de Janeiro Federative Unit, Brazil, national state. We will consider that non-Western, the state has three different powers. In general, as democratic institution, the Congress, the government, and the judicial system. All public departments having the general conversation about this, all using one instrument named budget. In entire Western societies like this. You please take a look on our blog as Risk Report 2022 trace august.blogspot.com that will lead you to this effort as GSS Euro 2022 traceaugust.blogspot.com. If you do the follow up, you will observe that we are talking the same year since 2018 at least, using the social media. And before, at our academic life that was interrupted. And of course that the if the issue economic and financial control and anti-crime research annoy your academic environment and this interrupt your academic life, of course that if you insist on it, someone at this field that consider this issue not relevant will try to interrupt maybe your life or your professional life, which implies take all chances from you and close all doors, and then you can't complain with the offenders. You decided to present this to the judicial system not related with those failures. On this blog, the GSS Euro 2022, the first thing that you observe is the COBOL, 100 seconds. The taxonomy of guilt is explained, you know the point. The corruption on regular area has a deeper level as criminal intent as itself, hidden themselves inside the institution by chairs, which has no legitimacy to present things and do accountability or transparency, despite with beautiful words, but worthless behavior as misconduct. And this takes the legitimacy by the loss of capacity and integrity. It's the consequence of corruption, the continued goal by blundering and nepotism. Then we will have some judicial elements considering the United States of America that is doing the international analysis, and I had the open data offered by me because I have no problems, and I bet that you can do the same because you are all problem. So you check that the trial week 12 obstruction is just another crime. Any doubt about this? I bet you don't. GRC credit protection, unique payment offenders at the debtor system, which is a criminal system. And we have the suggestion as consequence of this trial that has 12 weeks about the conviction of all. Economic and financial index will skyrocket as index against the risk is the natural behavior of the investor or any serious environment that not tolerate failures and the institutional failure operating as something regular because it will be a corrosive element inside the system. It's named systemic risk. Complained on 2000, since 2014 in Brazil by the IMF, OECD, and UNODC. The United Nations Office about Drugs and Crimes. You have both on Brazilian institution, from the top to the bottom. The judicial causality questions. Causal relation plus the condition sine qua non, which implies the angle stone of all crimes integrated, it's the silence of you all, especially by Budget since 1988. Judicial causality. Integrated fails, links transnational organized crime, criminal offenders. Has any top-down scam? Considering the hierarchical distribution of power has multi-level, 24, 20, 74 and 23 item 1 of the Brazilian Constitution, plus the budget as user, considering for instance the federative units as levels, the counties, the seats, the states, and the national state, which chairs are on failed system since 1988. Some of them has the lifelong chairs, the others are replaced by the electoral system, with legitimacy down and institution controlled and ruled by criminal purpose. The electoral system will be ruled by criminal purpose and interest, especially at the use of budget with no control at all. What do you think? Judicial inference. Do you think that we can do? Of course we do. Can we have open data on it as issues Brazil and peers related with that are very concerned by solidarity and have a big compensation the US great old party, maybe will claim their rights as interest, especially if declared and they're not authorized, you know, collecting data by phone calls, for instance, that we are having. The preparation maybe of a candidate or a next president as preference of the electoral system in America. Judicial inference. Can we have open data on it? Brazil and peers. Do we have a blazing act here? Brazil and peers. Is the legitimacy by fail something failed? How goes your legitimacy? Straight or failed? Judicial conclusion. The obvious is obvious, of course. Is your decision as procedural decision valid in our case as integrated and unique judicial power of the Brazilian state as judicial power of the state power? Is your decisions valid? Is your decisions legitimate? Did you have any, recent case going and complaining there's fraud, which is a fraud of the criminal, a fraud of the system, or a fraud of them both by coalition and interest, as changing the system by a new constitution that will not affect this credit that is going by what you all in other area. We consider that you can use this kind of hoax. Even if you give up now, we consider it. And by obvious, if the individual can complain with the offender, do you consider that the interest and the will and duties made and executed by this individual will complain with the offender that do not respect the basic rights and guarantees as individuals, as citizens, as citizenship, as international cooperation, as professional life and academic life, very regular and very according to the law? Of course not. Is it your judicial system legal? But why are we complaining? Abuses and violation of basic rights and guarantees confirmed by the judicial system that has a new law about abuse of power and you had no dismiss provide, and then you have that situation, debtor system is a criminal system. Any question? You can do your hoax, in the way you do, but you are, as I told you before, you are not fooling me. You are fooling the international judicial power observing who you are. And we have questions here. The question, quite simple, at the second post at this blog is: having a speech trial week 12, obstruction is just another crime. Can any of you offenders have open data to the international judicial power doing the analysis by equity or others will do? In the way I did, I opened things for the judicial power. I must have this. I'm acting by free conscience, free mind, and with total conviction that you will all be sent to jail by, law. Because it's your right and it's your guarantee be inside the prison boat as international criminal. You must have an international prison. And by the time that is taking until 2028 on events current and the next 2024, the prison boat can be a separate boat. For instance, at the war or something like this, doing piracy of items and have entire supply chain using, the overseas, placing things and reducing the lead time inside areas like we had in Europe, Portugal. I think that was like this. Then let's kick by professional life. Can you have open data? Because if it starts with corruption or nepotism or frauds, by obvious the result will describe who you are and why you did all this against the research. Consider you do not have cooperation, do interference, and insist on obstruction of justice and crimes by instrument control. It's named Cretinismus Brasilis, a mental illness discovered in Brazil on public budget. Not a privilege of Brazilians, but was discovered here. Can we do the open data offenders? Please declare my second nationality as Portuguese. I'm not considering paying my tax here because the public financial system as investment system is used for criminal purpose. And it's not enough, and then you do the requirement and the petition and the bag investment all around the globe. Interface this money for what? For who? Can you and only you can tell this bagger of investment at this junkie system you was qualified twice like this. The crazement of economic interest has hates incomes and penalties on US Embassy considering this case. Don't get wrong, but unique payment. Have a great time, offenders. My name, professional record, business and financial service, all by law. I present all this very according with the law and the constitution in Brazil, USA, considering international regulatory premise. You are against all this. I don't know. I think that you are a criminal. Have a good night.